My son threw the first punch. My daughter-in-law grabbed my collar and shoved me into the wall, all because I said no. They wanted $3 million. They got nothing. And 1 week later, everything they had built on my name started burning to the ground. I turned 58 the year my wife passed. Pancreatic cancer, 4 months from diagnosis to gone. After that, I lived alone in the house we'd shared in Columbus, Ohio for 22 years. My son Marcus called more often after the funeral, said he was worried, said his wife Dana thought I needed family around me, said they had a spare room and wide floors and the grandkids would love having Grandpa close. I believed him. That was my first mistake. I moved in on a Tuesday in October, 2 suitcases and a box of books. Dana had set up the guest room with fresh linens. Marcus grilled steaks that first night. He laughed at my old stories. The grandkids climbed on my lap. I thought maybe this is what healing looks like. It wasn't healing, it was positioning. By week 2, the conversation shifted, subtle at first. Marcus mentioned property taxes over coffee. Dana brought up their investment portfolio at dinner, casually the way someone mentions the weather. Then Marcus started talking about a private equity fund a colleague had pitched. High return, low risk. His voice stayed easy, but his eyes stayed on mine a beat too long. I nodded. I didn't commit, but something tightened in my chest. A few days later, Dana came into my room with a folder, bank transfer forms, a notarization page, a printout of my brokerage account. I asked her how she knew my account numbers. She smiled and said Marcus had always known my passwords, said they liked to check in on me, make sure I was managing okay. That night I lay awake staring at the ceiling and counted backward through every financial decision I'd made since Linda died. I thought about the $4,000 I'd loaned Marcus 2 years ago for a car repair. He'd never mentioned it again. I started locking my bedroom door. By week 3 I found papers on the kitchen counter with my name typed in the wrong places. A mortgage refinance with me listed as co-borrower. I hadn't signed anything. Dana said it was a clerical error, her voice perfectly calm. That afternoon I drove to a gas station 3 miles away and called my financial advisor from a burner phone I'd bought 6 months earlier, an old habit from a real estate dispute back in 2019. I told him to lock everything, biometric access only, flag any login attempts from outside my own devices. He asked if everything was okay. I told him it would be. Week 4, I woke up to my room ransacked, dresser drawers open, suitcase unzipped, the lining of my winter coat torn, the flash drive I'd hidden inside it gone. I walked downstairs. Marcus was by the coffee maker, arms crossed. Dana didn't look up from her phone. I asked if anyone had been in my room. Marcus said maybe one of the kids was looking for scissors. They said it too fast. I went back upstairs, closed the door, and dialed my attorney on that same burner line. I gave him the code word Linda and I had chosen years ago, back when we set up the trust. His assistant put me through in under 30 seconds. Within the hour, my attorney had triggered the fail-safe in the irrevocable trust Linda and I had quietly built over 20 years. Power of attorney privileges revoked. Offshore custodian notified, a report filed with Adult Protective Services not as an accusation but as a record. Then I packed one bag, only essentials, and walked out the front door like I was going to get the mail. A car was waiting at the corner. My attorney had sent it. 2 weeks later, Marcus and Dana filed a petition in probate court claiming I was mentally unfit to manage my own estate. They hired witnesses, 2 of their friends, who signed affidavits saying I seemed confused, forgetful, erratic. My attorney introduced cognitive evaluations from my physician, sworn statements from 3 colleagues, 2 neighbors, and the president of the veterans organization I'd run for 6 years. He introduced the documented timeline of manipulation. Then he read my personal letter into the record. The judge dismissed the petition. She called it an abuse of process and referred the matter for further review. We walked out without saying a word to either of them. 3 months later, federal charges were filed. Fraud, financial coercion, elder abuse. Russell's name appeared first, then Marcus's. Here's what I didn't see coming, the anonymous tip that triggered the IRS audit. The one that cracked the entire case open came from Dana. She had turned him in before any of it went public, before the dinner invitation she'd sent me, before the hospital visit. She had done it alone, quietly, and said nothing. I don't know if it was guilt or survival instinct, maybe both. It didn't change what happened to me, but it told me something about the difference between a person who loses their way and a person who was never going to stop. I planted a small garden that spring. Nothing dramatic. Tomatoes, basil, one stubborn rosemary bush along the fence. Marcus left one voicemail, said he was sorry, said he'd made mistakes. I deleted it without finishing it. Dana sent a letter. Handwritten, 4 pages. I read it once, folded it, and put it in the drawer with the things that matter but no longer define me. I'm not angry, not exactly. I'm clear. There's a difference. Anger keeps you tethered to the person who hurt you. Clarity belongs to you alone. I'm 60 years old. I live in a quiet house in Columbus. I sleep through the night. I make strong coffee. I tend my garden, and I answer to no one. They thought I was a quiet old man. They were half right. Please like, share, and subscribe this video.